879, and I'm coming to you in front of my garage. Anyway, this video is about some personal protection I got while I'm up here working. A lot of times I'll come up here during the evening, especially during the warm weather months, and I'll work on up into the night. And there's been a few times I'll get so busy with a project, after a while I'll hear the birds start chirping and singing, and the sun's coming up. Pulled a few all-nighters up here, you might say. But then over the past 2.5 years, well, I had two little incidents that nearly happened. And I figured, well, instead of a handgun, which is alright in most situations, I wanted something where I could do some really good social work. Yeah, that's what Jeff Quinn says. So I found this. This is a Mossberg 20 gauge pump. Well, actually, it's the Maverick 88 20 gauge pump made by Mossberg. Same good quality, just a couple of little differences. I guess you could say this is their economy model, but believe me, it is not cheap made by any means. You gotta love a pump. Let's talk about it. Here's how the video is going to go. I'm going to do a quick overview of it, give you my thoughts about it. Then we'll do a little shooting with it, see how it works, take the very first shots with it. Then I'll give you my thoughts and impressions about that, and then I'll do a little shooting montage. And after the shooting montage, the last part of the video will be me talking about an incident that almost happened late one night up at my garage. The main reason I went with the Maverick 88 model instead of a Mossberg model is simple. A garage self-defense gun, or you could say a garage gun for a garage guy. Anyhow, I didn't want to sink a lot of money into something that was going to be used primarily up there at the garage. If it gets a scratch on it, or if it gets a nick or something like that, I'm not going to go all to pieces over it. I found this shotgun by accident at Wally World. $205, and then tax and fees, so you bump it up about another $12. Anyway, I decided to go with 20 gauge because in my lifetime I shot plenty of 12s. I like a 12 gauge round. But from what I understand, the only difference in 12 gauge rounds and 20 gauge rounds is the number of pellets. And a 20 gauge can be just as devastating as a 12. And another thing I chose a shotgun over a handgun. Well, handgun, if you're trying to hit a moving target that's coming at you, you might not always hit. But with a shotgun, you pretty much aim in a general direction. And some of the pellets, most of them, what have you, yeah, you're going to hit something. Shotgun's the ultimate self-defense weapon, if you ask me. Now, this thing right here, it's the capacity on it with 2 3/4 inch shells is 5+1. 3-inch shells, 4+1. That's plenty of firepower. The length pull is a tad over 13 inches. The overall length is like 45.5 inches. And the weight on it is right at 7 pounds. The main differences between this and a Mossberg, well, the Mossberg has the tang safety right here. This has what you call a crossbolt safety. I can live with it. It's no deal breaker. Let's walk around here. You've got what they call the AccuLock lever right there. I believe that was a proper term for it. It's just plain Jane simple. There's no bells or whistles to it. And this has a 26-inch barrel, and it's ribbed. Reason I went with 26 over a 20, well, that garage, it's 48 by 36. It's a wide open space in there. But everybody knows the longer the barrel on a shotgun, you're going to keep a tighter pattern for a little bit farther distance. My home defense weapon is a Mossberg 500 20 gauge. And it's only got an 18-inch barrel on it, and yeah, it's going to be a little tighter squeeze there at my house, you know, as far as coming out of my room and down the hallway. But this right here, another reason I like the 26-inch barrel, I can take it up in the woods, you know, and do regular hunting with it. And like I said, if I get it scratched up or nicked up or what have you, it's no big deal. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I've racked the forearm back a few times, and it's pretty decent for an economy model shotgun. There's no grit to it. There's really no resistance. And the trigger pull on it is just fine. Here's one thing I do like about it. Some people may not like it, but you see right here, they call that the Mossberg Wiggle. That's there for a reason. If you're under stress in a dire situation, you're not always going to make a smooth, straight motion racking the forend backwards and forwards. That ain't going to happen. You're going to be like that. Your adrenaline's going to be pumping. You might be getting lightheaded, dizzy, whatever. In other words, you're going to be scared half to death. That right there, you know, it's good to have that flexibility. Not bad. I'm going to read to you what it says here on the barrel. It says chambered for 2 3/4 and 3-inch shells, 20 gauge, 26-inch AccuChoke. For what I'm going to use it for, you know, the choke ain't no big deal to me. As long as it fires, holds a good pattern, that's what's important. Now here, right here, it says Model 88, 20 gauge Maverick by Mossberg. I believe some of these parts are assembled in Mexico because this comes from the El Paso facility. And as far as the parts, I'm talking, you know, like internals, and they can make them cheaper there. So here you have the end result, the economy model, Maverick 88. As you see here, I've already got a splatter target up, and the holes that's in it, I did that with a 22 pistol the other day. So I'm showing you this first so everybody will know that there's already these holes in it, but we can still be able to tell what kind of pattern the 20 gauge round will shoot. And down here at the bottom, well, that's a target I sight in scope with, but I'll use it too and see how we do. Let's take the first shots out of this bad boy. The ammunition I'm going to be using is the Winchester Universal Game and Target rounds, 20 gauge, 2 3/4 inches, 7.5 shot. Just Game and Target shots. There we go. I'm going to load 5 of these into the shotgun, and let's see what it'll do. We're all clear. Oh boy. First shots. 3 shots to the abdomen, 1 shot to the neck. The perpetrator's head, for all basic purposes, is probably laying about 10 foot away from his body. Let's look down here at this lower one. If we can get it. pretty much the same result. A big old hole where no hole existed before. First shots out of my Maverick 88 20 gauge. Alright, I got 5+1 loaded now, 6 rounds. I'm going to stand back about 25 foot, and as you can see, I got a satellite dish, as they say in Russia, Sputnik. I'm going to fire 5 rounds at that, and in the last round I'm going to be firing it at that piece of steel hanging there. It's a 1/4 inch thick, and that's some really tough grade steel right there. It's had handled 9mm 40, and it doesn't make an indentation. It just knocks the paint and dirt off the steel. Some pretty tough stuff, so let's fire some more shots. Well, that was from about 25 foot away. I'm going to back up to about 40 foot and see what happens. Okay, that first shot that ripped a big hole in it, that was about 25 foot. The rest between 40 and 50 foot. Now on this steel here, pretty decent. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to load up 3 more rounds. See if we can't pepper this bad boy. I've just got to say this, that was a lot of fun. The pump action was nice and smooth, no grit, no resistance. What I aimed at, I hit it. It's got 2 beads on the barrel. It's got 1 bead right here, a gold bead right there. And on the end, you got the white bead. Lined up nice and true. And from touching this thing, the rib on the barrel is doing its job, because that thing is pretty warm. But the other part of the barrel, no problem. It's a lot more fun to shoot than a 12 gauge. Now, 12 gauge is the ultimate self-defense weapon as far as shotguns go, but this right here, you good people saw what this did. And that was just with a target shot. And as far as my self-defense loads, I'm going to continue to use target shot. My lord, that ammo I showed you earlier in the video for 100 rounds was only 25 bucks and some change at Walmart. You can't go wrong there. And believe me, you can do a lot more target shooting with this than you can a 12 gauge. I mean, I don't care how big and physically built somebody might be, a 12 gauge is going to make you sore after a while. Plain and simple. Well, here we are, just about at the end of the video. And I know a lot of people out there are going, thank God, finally. Hey, that's alright. I'm sorry if I drug us out too long. So next, I'll do a little bit of a shooting montage, and then after that, I tell people what happened one night up at my garage about 2.5 years ago. It's kind of a scary situation. I'm not going to lie to you about that. But anyway, this is a Mark Garage Gate 79 with my garage gun. Saying everybody, have a nice day, and when you go shooting, be safe. I want to show you something about this garage. It is located on top of a hill behind my rental park. Yeah, I rent out mobile homes for a living, so hey, it's not one of those Jerry Springer places, but it's pretty decent, and I like to keep it that way. Like I said, I'm up here a lot of times during the night, and sometimes up until the morning. Now, I got the camera turned around here, and as you can see the closest rental home down there is about 100 yards away. And oh yeah, if you're wondering about those bales of hay, I just had this road regraded and all the ditches cleaned out. I'm going to bust the hay open and spread it out in places to help prevent erosion. But you can see how far away the nearest home is. If I have any problems up here, you know, I'm just SOL. So that's why I decided to go by way of the shotgun. Now, one night here a couple of years ago, I'm backing a camera up here, and I'm directly in front of the garage door. One night a couple of years ago, I was working in here, and you can see where my truck's parked. This Chevy Blazer pulled in here. I mean, this thing was nice, big, black, looked brand new, but it didn't have no front tag on it. And everybody knows here in Virginia, you got to have a tag or a license plate on the front and back. So I figured maybe the guy was from out of state, maybe it was somebody lost. I walked out here to the front of the garage, and I just, you know, pretty well asked him. I said, is there something I can help you with? Do you need directions? Well, the fellow that was sitting in the front passenger seat just turned and looked. He had his window down. He said, "Buddy, right now the best thing you can do is walk back in there. Don't worry about what we're doing." I'm like, okay, screw this. So I did walk back in, and at the time I had a Tara 605 Poly Protector 357 Magnum. It's 5-shot. So I walked back out of the garage, and I had it, just holding it kind of like this in my hand where they could barely see it. And he turned right back around and he said, "What you got there?" I said, "I got 357 reasons why you need to back up and leave. I'm going to tell you, they couldn't back up fast enough and get out of here. They hauled ass." But that was kind of a actually scary experience. But when they was going down the hill, I noticed they had Florida tags on the back of that Blazer. So these guys were probably up to no good or something like that to tell me to go back in the garage and not worry about what they're doing. Well, a 5-shot 357 Magnum snub-nosed revolver is one thing, but I wanted something that would really do some damage in order to save my hide if need be. I got no problem with firing a shot at somebody, making sure they don't get a shot off at me first. Alright, hey, I like living. And there's no meth head or druggie or whoever that's worth me dying over. I mean, I will never shoot somebody to kill them, but I will shoot somebody to defend myself. And a shotgun is the best way to go.